Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for introducing yourself, gentlemen. So, the thing is what I love about that, I get about 20 ISV solutions across my desk every about 6 months. I do, and I weed through them. And a lot of these solutions, a lot of these are in the minds of the vendor really awesome, but in my mind, I'm like, well, I don't know so much. I don't know if this is really a pertinent pertinent thing that the partners are that we can actually use. So I think that this kind of coincides with what we're talking about. So part one, I just really want to get right into it right now. It's, knowing who you are and what your value proposition is. So, what I want to do here is kind of give you a little bit of a history, the Crancer Group. A lot of you know me for a long time. I spent 5 years at Microsoft. I left in 2019, right before the pandemic, with an idea that I could do things better, faster, quicker than I could at Microsoft with my partner base. And the idea was to do two things, really, because I understood the industry really well. I spent 5 years deep with every type of partner, the breadth partner, the large partner, and I realized, very quickly that one of the big needs really in the industry was, focusing on business fundamentals. The majority of our partners, sit there and they're about 90% engineering and 10% sales and marketing. And it's not that they're really bad at that, but they just don't focus on that. They don't have a professional sales organization involved. Their method of acquisition is typically the I'm on fire method, right? Somebody's on fire, they give you a call, it's a referral, you pick up that client. And if we're actually honest with with ourselves today, that's the major way of acquisition today. So, I really understood the partners, and we started this business with doing two things, focusing on two things. Now, there's a reason why I'm telling you this. This is not a commercial, okay? I'm telling you this because I want you to focus on how you run your business and think about it in that way, okay? I started out with, okay, I'm going to do two things with the partner base that we work with. We're going to first focus on business fundamentals, signing up for the right programs, getting your advanced specializations, creating offers to go to market with, getting them into the marketplace, working on a full year marketing plan, and then installing a professional sales methodology, right? Not just sending 1 or 2 emails, but how do you send 15 or 16, right? So that's what the idea was. And in 2 years, think about this, we now have 25 partners under management. We hit over $2 million in revenue. Okay, and we just hired our 10th full-time employee. We actually got her. She started this week. Amalea Miller was recently the lead over for the PLSR team at Microsoft, and we have her now working for us to help our partner base with that. But the reason why I'm telling you this history behind it, okay, we're growing leaps and bounds. It's really an interesting situation, right? Going from an idea with no money, no investment to $2 million in revenue in 24 months. But the reason why is we play to our strengths. And what I want you to start thinking about today, what you're going to leave today with is an idea of how do you change, how do you transform into the partner of tomorrow. And too many of us, from the MSP's perspective, sell too many things, in my opinion. You have a rate card that has over 200 or 300 different things that you can sell. But what do you sell really well? Do you understand your profit margins? Do you understand your sales margins? Do you understand your total cost of sale? And many times you don't. But what you end up doing is you understand what an MSP is, and you're selling a managed service that has a recurring revenue. Everyone's been telling you recurring revenue. Great, but do you know what your profit margin is? Do you know what your utilization rate is, right? Are you doing too many things? So my suggestion for knowing who you are and what your value proposition is I know my value proposition cold. My value proposition is if you work with us, we're going to increase your business by 40% year over year for licensing. That's what we're going to do. And we're going to do it very systematically, and we know exactly what we're going to do, but we're not going to do everything. Now, there's a lot of people come to me all the time and say, hey, Sherman, can you sell this? Can you sell that? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, no, I don't, because what I want to do is I want to play to my strengths. I want to play to what I know, how I know, and I want to simplify what I want to do. Now, my second to last point really is think about creative solutions that will separate yourself from the competition. Now, this is the reason why I brought in SlideSense today, because I want them to demo what they have. I want you to start envisioning, okay, how do you add something to a package, right? How do you create packages and add something that's going to differentiate yourself from the masses? I can't tell you how many MSPs that we see, okay, that basically do the same exact thing as everybody else. There's not much differentiation. So just think of the competition when you go into somebody. Your competition does the exact same thing. Then it becomes a price war, right? And you don't really want to do that. You want to figure out, how do you differentiate from the competition? And we're going to be talking about this in part 2, is really about building packages in just a little bit. But more importantly, you know your strengths. You want to think about a creative solution. So it could be, let's say, a vertical. Let's say it's a manufacturing vertical, right? And you're selling them Office 365 or Azure cloud solution, but you add something to that. It could be a security solution. It could be something like SlideSense. And the reason why we're talking about this is I want to get you involved in thinking about that, right? Get involved, kind of think about that. And then what you do is you create packages that are going to differentiate yourself, and then you go to market. That's what we want to do. So with that being said, this is the very first part.